So today we will be studying about the vice president. If you have any doubt in the chapter of president, then you can ask. So come to the vice president. So first of all, we will see the eligibility criteria. Who is eligible in India to become the vice president? So first eligibility criteria is the he must be the citizen of India. Citizen of India. He must be the citizen of India. And age 35 years. He must have completed the age of 35 years. Clear? And one more, and it is very important. He must be qualified to become a member of Rajya Sabha. He must be qualified to become a member of Rajya Sabha. See, here is Rajya Sabha. And you know why? Rajya Sabha or Council of State. Why? Because he is ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. So, the most important eligibility to become a vice president of India is he must be qualified to become a member of Rajya Sabha, not the Lok Sabha. In case of president, we have seen that it is Lok Sabha, but in case of vice president, a person must be qualified to become a member of Rajya Sabha. So, these are the three important eligibility criteria for any person in India, for any citizen of India to become a vice president. Clear? Now, we will see the functions of vice president. See, there are mainly two important functions. First, I have told that he is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Clear? And second one is in case of absence of president. In case of absence of president or vacancy in president office. Vacancy in president office. Vice president will act as president. Vice president will act as president. So there are mainly two important functions of the vice president in India. The first and most important function is he is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Means he will be the presiding officer of the Rajya Sabha. Like the speaker of Rajya Sabha, he will have all the powers regarding to the Rajya Sabha. Clear? And second function is in the case of absence of president. Yeah, if president office become vacant, then he will act as the president of India. So there are basically two important functions of vice president. Clear? Now we will see about the election of vice president. Election of vice president. See, he is elected by both the houses. Both the houses. That is Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Clear? Vice president is elected by member of both the houses, that is Rajya Sabha as well as Lok Sabha. Clear? And see, in case of president, there were Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and MLAs also, not MLC. Clear? Draw this diagram. Not MLC but MLA. But here, in case of vice president, MLA are not allowed to vote. It is only Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, not MLA. This is the difference between the election of president and vice president. Clear? So electoral college of vice president is consist of members of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha only. Clear? And see, I have told at the time of president also that in case of dispute in election of president as well as vice president, clear? Case can be filed only in Supreme Court. Case can be filed only in Supreme Court, and it is for both, for the dispute of president as well as for the dispute of vice president. Clear? Now come to the term of vice president. Term of vice president is 5 years. Clear? But if he want, he can resign earlier. And to whom he will submit the resignation? Resign to president. Resignation letter will be submitted to the president. Clear? And also, see, he can be removed from the office of vice president. Removal of vice president. Removal of vice president. See, resolution for removal of vice president can be initiated only in Rajya Sabha. Only in Rajya Sabha. Remember this. Resolution for the removal of vice president can be initiated only in Rajya Sabha. Unlike president. Unlike president. In case of president, it can be initiated in either of the house. That is, either in Lok Sabha or in Rajya Sabha. Clear? But in case of vice president removal, it can be initiated only in the Rajya Sabha. Remember this point. And that is the exclusive power of the Rajya Sabha. Exclusive power of Rajya Sabha. What are the other exclusive power of Rajya Sabha? Other than this, see, there are mainly this. See, this is the exclusive power of Rajya Sabha. That is, resolution for the removal of vice president can be initiated only in Rajya Sabha. Then there are two other articles. That is Article 249. That is also a special and exclusive power of Rajya Sabha. And what is this? Rajya Sabha can pass a resolution for what? To authorize the parliament to enact a law on the state list. That is the special and exclusive power of the Rajya Sabha under Article 249. Rajya Sabha can pass a resolution to authorize the parliament. Remember, to authorize the parliament. Rajya Sabha cannot make law on the state list alone. Rajya Sabha will pass a resolution. Resolution for what? To authorize the parliament to enact a law on the state list. Is that clear? It is not the exclusive power of Rajya Sabha to make law on the state list. The power of Rajya Sabha is to pass a resolution to empower the parliament, to authorize the parliament to enact a law on the state list. Is that clear? And second is Article 312. That is, it is the exclusive power of the Rajya Sabha to authorize the parliament create all India service. It is not the exclusive power of the Rajya Sabha to create all India service. The exclusive power of Rajya Sabha is to pass a resolution to authorize the parliament to create a new all India service. Be very careful with your words while you are writing answer for mains. I have evaluated many answers and aspirants have mainly written it is the power of Rajya Sabha to create new all India service. It is not the power of Rajya Sabha, it is the power of parliament. Clear? Rajya Sabha have the power, exclusive power, to pass a resolution to authorize the parliament to enact a new all India service, to create a new all India service. And the same goes with the Article 249. It is the exclusive power of the Rajya Sabha to authorize the parliament to enact a law on the state list. So these are the three exclusive and special power of the Rajya Sabha. And this question has been asked by UPPSC, I think, in 2018 mains paper. Clear? And many aspirants have written only these two powers, and they forgot to write about this power. Clear? See, now for the removal of vice president, before introduction of resolution, of 14 days prior notice should be given. 14 days prior notice should be given to the vice president, not president, vice president. A 14 days prior notice should be given to vice president. Clear? Before introducing the resolution in the Rajya Sabha. Clear? Now see, this resolution must be passed by two-third majority of the Rajya Sabha. Resolution must be passed by two-third majority of the Rajya Sabha. Two-third majority of the Rajya Sabha. Clear? Now see, though the removal resolution for the removal of vice president initiated only in Rajya Sabha, but for the removal of president, it must also be passed from the Lok Sabha. Clear? So once it passed from the Rajya Sabha, it must also passed in Lok Sabha. Clear? Yes. Now see the difference between vice president and Indian vice president. Indian vice president. USA vice president have a tenure of 4 years. Clear? And Indian vice president have a tenure of 5 years. Is that clear? Huh? And see, in case of vacancy in president office in India, vice president will act as president maximum for 6 months. In case of vacancy in the president office of India, vice president can act as president maximum for 6 months. Clear? And here, in case of USA, for remaining term. For remaining term. Is that clear? Is this different clear to all? And one more thing to be noted here is, see, vice president, vice president take his salary as ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. As ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha means there is no salary for the post of vice president in India. The vice president of India takes his salary as the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Clear? And see one more thing. When when he acts as president, when vice president acts as president, he will draw the salary of president, salary and allowances of the president. When he will be discharging function of the president, he will draw the salary of president. Salary of president. Is that clear? So these are the few important things which you need to remember for your prelims exam as well as for mains. Any doubt? So we have finished president and vice president, and now we will move to the prime minister of India. Prime Minister of India. See, I have told in the salient feature of Indian Constitution that which form of government is there in India, parliamentary form or presidential form. See, in India there is parliamentary form of government. What do you mean by parliamentary form of government? There will be two head. Okay. First one is head of state, that is president. Clear? And second one is head of government, that is prime minister. Is that clear? So prime minister in India is the head of government. That's why he is also called as real executive. Whereas president is known as nominal executive and PM is known as real executive. Clear? And see, one more important thing here is that PM in India, PM in India can be member of either of the house. Can be member of either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. And one more important thing is there. Here is that any person above age 25 years in India can be a PM for 6 months. For 6 months without being a member of either of the house. Without being a member of either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. But he must become a member of either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha within 6 months. Clear? So maximum time allowed for a person above age 25 years of India to be a PM in India without being a member of the any of the house is 6 months. That means within 6 months he must become a member of either of the house, either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Clear? Means either upper house or lower house. See, there is one major difference between Indian parliamentary form of government and Britain parliamentary form of government. In India, see in your syllabus, GS paper 2, you have a topic comparison between India's constitution with the other constitution of world. So basically, you have to study about the US constitution as well as British constitution mainly until unless something is there in the news. So in case of India, PM can be a member of upper house or lower house both. But in Britain, PM can be a member of only lower house, a member of lower house. Is that clear? Hmm? Now come to the election of president. Sorry, election of PM. See, India is a parliamentary form of government. So here we elect member of parliament. Clear? We do not directly elect PM in India. So we elect only member of parliament, either in the Lok Sabha directly by the people or in the Rajya Sabha indirectly by the people. So there is no election for the PM in India. So there is appointment of PM. Appointment of PM. Clear? Appointment of PM. And who can be appointed as PM? Anyone. See, leader of majority party. Leader of majority party can be appointed as PM. And who will appoint PM? President. That means president can appoint any person who is the leader of the majority party in the parliament as the prime minister. Clear? And the term of PM is 5 year. 5 years. But that doesn't mean he have the security of tenure of 5 years if he lost the majority in the parliament. What does it mean? It means that president can appoint any person who is enjoying the leadership of the majority party in the parliament as the prime minister, but that person must enjoy the confidence of Lok Sabha. That person must enjoy the confidence of Lok Sabha. I am writing Lok Sabha, not Raj Sabha. So PM, including Council of Minister, is responsible to the Lok Sabha. So he must enjoy the confidence of the members of Lok Sabha. Clear? But if he has lost the majority before the completion of 5 year terms, then he cannot be a Prime Minister of India. He will have to resign. And once the PM will resign, council of minister will automatically get resigned. There is no need for the individual ministers to submit their resignation. Is that clear? Huh? And see, sometimes there is no clear majority, no absolute majority for any party. No majority for any party. Clear? In this case, when there is no majority of any party in parliament, in this case, president will have the discretionary power. President will have the discretionary power. Discretionary power to call any person to become a prime minister and prove his majority in the house. There is no need to prove the majority before taking the oath as PM. Clear? In case of India, any person can first become the prime minister, then he will be given a time to prove his majority in the Lok Sabha. Clear? What does it mean? It means can that a person can be appointed as PM before proving his majority in the Lok Sabha. And it is the discretionary power of the president. But it is convention that president will call the member of that party which have largest number of share in the parliament to become PM and prove his majority. Clear? But a no confidence motion, if a no confidence motion. See, I have told while teaching parliament that no confidence motion can be passed only in Lok Sabha. So, if a no confidence motion passed in Lok Sabha, only in Lok Sabha, then PM has to resign. Clear? But not in case of Rajya Sabha. Clear? Now come to the functions of Prime Minister in India. First, we will see about the legislative function, then executive function, then administrative function, and then advisory function. Clear? Legislative function, executive function, administrative function, and advisory function. See, I have told while teaching president that president will summon or prorogue the house. So on whose advice? Yes. So he will president will summon and prorogue the session of the parliament in consultation with the prime minister. ठीक है? President will summon and prorogue the session of the parliament in consultation with the Prime Minister. Also, second power is, see, summon and prorogue the House. He will advise the President to summon and prorogue the House, and also he will advise the President to dissolve the House. To dissolve the House. See, one thing that is very important, I want to tell you. Generally, Prime Minister's advice to dissolve the Lok Sabha is binding on the President. Clear? But if President thinks or feels that the government has already lost the majority, then this advice will not be binding. That is very important point, which you won't find in book also. If President thinks or feels that government has already lost majority in the Lok Sabha, then this advice of dissolution of the Lok Sabha is not binding on the President. Clear? नहीं तो होगा क्या? पीएम को लगेगा कि मेजॉरिटी लॉस हो रही है, प्रेसिडेंट को रिकमेंड कर देगा हाउस डिसॉल्व करो, नया इलेक्शन करो. So if president feels that ki PM has already lost the majority, lost the confidence of Lok Sabha, then he may reject the advice of the PM and may call the person from another party to form the government and prove his majority. Is that clear? Now, second thing, all the members of cabinet are appointed by the president on the recommendation of the prime minister. All the members of the cabinet are appointed by the president on the recommendation of the prime minister. Clear? Now come to the executive powers. See, PM is the representative of the country at international level. Representative of the country at international level. Like many forum, there are many forum like G20, ठीक है, SCO, ASEAN. So who is representing India here in this international forum? Prime Minister. So Prime Minister is the representative of the country at international level. Clear? And he is the ex officio chairman of Niti Aayog. Ex officio chairman of Niti Aayog. Clear? Now come to the administrative function of PM. The first function is he is the chief channel of communication between the President and Council of Ministers. He is the channel of communication between the President and Council of Ministers. You can draw this diagram. He is the channel of communication between the President and Council of Ministers. Clear? While teaching President, I have told that according to Article 78, Article 78, what is there in Article 78? President may seek any advice from the President may ask for any information or any function of the Council of Minister or Cabinet from the Prime Minister. Clear? And Prime Minister have to give that information to the President. President can ask for any information about the functioning of the Council of Minister or the Cabinet or the government. So PM is acting as a chief channel of communication between the Prime Minister and between the president and council of minister. Clear? And one more thing, he will allocate the portfolio to the ministers. Allocate the portfolio to the ministers. And if he thinks it is necessary to reshuffle the portfolio, so he can also reshuffle the portfolio of ministers. Clear? So he will allocate the portfolio to the ministers. You are ministry of you are cabinet minister for the environment. You are cabinet minister for the education. You are cabinet minister for finance. ठीक है? So he has the power to allocate the portfolio, and if he thinks that if there is a necessity to reshuffle this portfolio, then he may reshuffle or change the portfolio. Clear? Or may ask the president to dismiss any minister. Clear? And another administrative function is the he presides the meeting of council of minister. He presides the meetings of council of minister. Means whenever council of minister will meet, he will be the president of that meeting. Clear? Now come to the advisory functions. Advisory functions. See, advisory functions means he will give advice to president. Advice to president. What kind of advice? To appoint high officials. To appoint high officials like comptroller and auditor general, like chairman of UPSC, like attorney general of India. Clear? He will recommend the president to appoint these high officials. And another thing, he will recommend president for the proclamation of emergency. For the proclamation of emergency. Clear? But this recommendation should be given by the cabinet in written. Clear? In case of national emergency, written approval of cabinet is required. Written approval of cabinet is required. See, written approval. And this provision was added by Janta government by the 44th constitutional amendment in 1978 to to avoid the abuse and misuse of the power. Clear? Now there are two questions for the mains. Write down those two questions. First one is, The Prime Minister in India cannot become a dictator. The Prime Minister in India cannot become a dictator. Comment. So, what will you write in the answer of this question? Anyone? See, what will you write in the introduction? In introduction, you can write few things related to the Prime Minister, like Article 74. Okay. What is Article 74? Prime Minister is head of Council of Minister to aid and advise President. Clear? Or you can write that in parliamentary form of government. In parliamentary form of government, PM is head of government and is real executive. And is real executive. You can write this in the introduction of this question. Clear? In parliamentary form of government, PM is the head of the government and he is the real executive. Clear? And what will you write in the main body? Main body, you will write that it is apprehended that due to the enormous power enjoyed by the Prime Minister, he may behave like a dictator. Due to the enormous power, due to the huge power enjoyed by the Prime Minister of India, he may behave like a dictator. And write down those powers: those legislative power, administrative power, executive power, and advisory power. These are the huge and enormous power. That's why few constitutional thinkers have said that Indian PM can become a dictator. But then you will have to counter this. But now you will have to counter this statement that Prime Minister in India cannot become a dictator. So how will you counter that? See, there is a feature of basic structure, isn't it? He cannot amend the basic structure of the constitution with the help of parliament. Huh? There is a concept of judicial review, isn't it? If he will make any law which is against the constitution, the Supreme Court will have the power to declare that law as null and void. Clear? Huh? There is media activism. Media will keep on criticizing the any unconstitutional or unparliamentary function or role performed by the Prime Minister. Clear? And one more thing. See, to impose national emergency. To impose national emergency, written approval of cabinet is required. PM cannot alone decide that. Written approval of cabinet is also required for the proclamation of national emergency. Clear? And according to 44th Constitutional Amendment Act. 44th Constitutional Amendment Act. President may send for the reconsideration of Council of Minister any bill sent to it for its assent. Clear? Huh? And one more thing which I have told, that advice of Council of Minister is not always binding. ठीक है? Advice of Council of Minister is not always binding. For example, dissolution of the House. Dissolution of House. If President thinks that Prime Minister has already lost the majority in the Parliament, so he may refuse the advice of the Council of Minister or the Prime Minister to accept or to dissolve the Lok Sabha. Is that clear? So these are the few features or few points which counter this statement that Indian PM cannot become a dictator. Clear? And another question is question 2. Indian Prime Minister is moon among stars. Explain. Indian Prime Minister is moon among stars. Explain. So what does it means? Indian Prime Minister is moon among stars. What does it means? See, it means he is the primus inter pares. What is the meaning of primus inter pares? First among equals. First among equals. He is first among equals. How? See, he is the head of Council of Ministers, isn't it? Means he is also MP. All the members of Council of Ministers are MP, na, member of Parliament. But he is head of Council of Ministers, and he is the head of state. Sorry, head of government. Clear? So now you have to write the powers of Parliament, powers of the Prime Minister here. Okay, what are his legislative power? Now you will have to explain the functions of Prime Minister here. Okay, why he is moon among star? Because he enjoys so much power as compared to other member of parliaments, as compared to other members of council of minister. So what are those powers I have explained? Legislative power, executive power, and advisory power, as well as administrative power. So you will have to write these powers or functions again. Clear? Any doubt? Am I supposed to dictate anything special? Something is missing, then you can ask. No?